Okay, so I didn't realize that this was going to probably be a two-parter. Um, so this is going to be part two of my drawing to you, or drawing tutorial to you, Rhetoric and Discord. So getting back, I was actually getting to the point where I was actually going to start, fleshing out my shapes for the hips and the chest. So I'm just going to grab my reference again. Okay. So, since I actually had a little bit of a chance to walk away from this drawing, I'm actually starting to notice some things I don't like about it, and it's sort of where the hip here is going to attach. And I'm actually switching to a red now to sort of indicate where I want everything to be. So this is going to be the attachments where the hips are going to be. Now, yeah, so you can use different shapes for this. Anime books are actually good for breaking down these shapes, so you can get the overall look and feel for the character that you're drawing. Because the rib cage is pointing outward this way, and it's above my horizon line right here, you would actually see sort of the inside where that rib cage, and this is where you're gonna, knowing some anatomy at this point will help you a bit. Best thing to do is get a picture of a skeleton, or if you're familiar enough with the way the human anatomy works at this point, then this part's more comfortable and easier to deal with. Again, like if you're going to be looking to do any practicing, this is the stuff that you should really be focusing on when it comes to your practice. I said before, like that pinch right here. Well, that pinch is being caused by the rib cage moving into sort of where your abdominal cavity is here, and the muscles cause sort of that overlap along with the structure of the rib cage. It's also handy too at this point you can actually draw some more lines to kind of help get the planes down a bit, I guess you can call that. I call these kind of like plane lines or something. You don't have to use too much of them. It's just to help you figure out your perspective. But another thing too, like when you actually see this shape right here I'm drawing, that comes around, looks very familiar. It's basically a figure eight. So you can use sort of that technique to kind of get those shapes and masses to look right. When it comes to up here where you got your collarbones, you think of it sort of like bike handlebars in a way, where they dip down and this comes up and this comes up. And basically how that works is that you got your shoulder blades back here, and basically that attaches to where your arm socket is. That looks kind of silly right above there, but this is all just for tutorial and practice sake. Again, that's all anatomy stuff, and if you want to practice that stuff more, I recommend taking some life drawing courses for that to help improve that for yourself. But anyway, getting back to where the you got your collarbone, and then because all perspective is going to make that a little bit shorter. So that's where you get that kind of shape from. That handlebar shape is from where your collarbones attach to this point right here. And then the rest of the attachment is actually caused by the shoulder blades in the back. And then basically, you can think about it, they attach to this ball. It's going to be your shoulders. Make this one just a little bit bigger. And if you want, you can actually put center lines on those too. Those will help figure out where you want your the overall structure for that arm bone to come out from. Now, everyone's favorite part, breast. And I'm going to show you one of the easiest ways that I was ever shown how to draw breast. Now, if you think of it, where your shoulder, I don't know if you can see that or not, but you got your shoulder, and you got that lovely handlebar shape right there, center line of the chest. I'm just going to do this roughly. Basically, how you indicate where the breasts are going to be on a female. And even the same thing, too, with pecs on a male, is you indicate that with like a 6 shape. And you pull that shape down from the collarbone and where the shoulders attach. And if you want, you can actually make that more into like a spiral, because that will give you sort of like the overall shape. So basically, how you apply that here, sort of like that. And then there's a little bit of that muscle. It's like the pectoral muscle that will attach to there. And then you can just kind of, basically this would be like, one point where the nipple. And now, keep in mind where your perspective is. My breasts look a little bit high, but oh well. Do the same thing on this side. But this side's going to be more forced into perspective. So basically, you just want to overlap. And actually, what I do a lot is I actually just connect the whole mass together. Sort of like that. And overlap that in there like that. And there's a little bit of that muscle that will come up into there like that. So I hope you can actually start seeing how those shapes are now starting to come together. And this is where I'm very, very heavy-handed when it comes to this part. So there. Now, what I like to do too at this point is you can actually draw these curved lines again, like I was drawing like on the legs, and then you can actually do the same thing for the breasts as well, or the chest area. It gives you that form definition. And the same thing too, you want to make sure you maintain your perspective on these parts, because if you don't, it'll look like one side is melting wax or something like that. You want to think of it that way. So like this, same way with the knees, how I was indicating like the sweep of the knees, how I indicate where they are like this. You can do the same thing with the elbows, and the elbows generally come to about where the navel is. So the navel can be right or some here. Same thing, you can just indicate those with smaller spheres, though, smaller than the shoulder, of course. And then you can even continue that where your wrist points are, make those spheres as well. And like I did with the calf muscles here, you can do the same thing with the forearm muscles. And it'll give you that shape almost every single time that you're looking for. It's like a little cheat trick. And I'm going to start giving these meat sack hands a little bit more definition by giving a little bit of shape right there. And again, with the straight on curve, so you got your curve here, and you got your straight there. And I'm kind of over exaggerating this a bit right now, but that's okay, because I mean, once you get your solid drawing down, you can actually trace over it and actually correct those things. But the last thing you want to do is trace over a drawing that already has things not working for it, because you're just going to compound those errors later on. So there. She's kind of looking a little stumpy than when I normally draw her. Like I draw her normally with a little bit longer legs. Kind of get a better shape going here for the feet. Like sometimes I draw her with what are called digigrade legs, and generally like I do that because like she'll be standing on the ball of her foot or something like that. So like I keep this a little bit extra length in there to kind of give her that digigrade leg look if I want. But right now she's standing on the flats of her feet, so. And again, like she's an anthropomorphic character. I'm going to be drawing, but I'm not even there yet, to be quite honest. Like, I'm still trying to get those correct shapes, trying to make it look solid. Okay. So now at this point, I'm actually quite happy with how this is now starting to turn out. So you can start, and the fingers are generally like gestures. So I'm just gonna kind of gesture my hands. My hands are actually kind of looking big, but whatever. Basically, I'm like, this whole thing is just to show you, this is how, just these little tips that I've learned. I just want to share them basically with you. What this shape is right here, basically that's the side of your, the plane of your head. If you're drawing, like, say, like a human head, and you actually got the shapes in there very, very well when I see you doing your drawings. Essentially, you want to think about the brain, of course, and then draw the side of the head, and then you draw your sort of sphere shape like that. And then a human head basically comes down. You got your jawbone. It's kind of like an anime part. This part here is the other side of the occipital bone. And this actually right here, when you draw this shape, this actually indicates too where that I can't even say it. You know what I mean. So basically, like, you know, you can do something like this for a human head. This is just very quickly done. But now, since I'm actually quite happy with how this is going, I'm actually going to start drawing Shia. So Shia is an anthropomorphic fox, so she has a bit of a tail. Draw a mask for the tail. Generally, when it comes to stuff like this, I actually draw spirals. And actually, I actually didn't mention this before. Drawing spirals, you can actually do it all the way down your legs, and it's actually a very, very quick way to build up your masses very quickly. Little tip that I learned. So yes, Shia is an anthropomorphic fox. I'm just going to try to get those pinches and folds in there. So generally what I like to do is I start with her ears. I just quickly draw them in. And then what I do next is I like to indicate the angle of where her nose or muzzle is pointing. So I'll draw this sweeping line through there like that. And this right here basically be the bridge of her nose. And then I draw sort of where the end of her nose is going to be. And I like to draw with a bit of like a hooked muzzle. It gives her a little bit of cuteness. She's a cute character. And then, you know, I don't know, this is where I'm going to start getting a bit loose with my drawing a bit now. You know, this mask right down there, that's her chin. That's what it kind of goes. She has a bit of an overbite. I like drawing her with a bit of an overbite because, you know, kind of cute. Like when it comes to drawing, like when you're trying to get like that cute factor or sexy factor or you know strength factor, there's subtle things you do at this point. That's gonna be where her cheek fluff is gonna be. Actually, you can indicate that with a sphere there as well. When it comes to the eyes, again, you can actually use sixes for the eyes. Like 6 is actually a very useful idea to get used to when you're doing these drawings because it literally can help you figure things out. I don't know what it is with the number 6, and there's like you can think about it as Fibonacci. There's a lot of Fibonacci things. You can spiral like anything on here. Like learn how to use spirals, man. Like they'll save you in so many drawings. So yeah, I'm very, very heavy-handed, as you can see. But this is just a rough sketch drawing, so. Put a little smile in there. And then, because your eyes are basically spheres. Again, there's more detailed stuff you can go into when it comes to figuring out, the shape of the eyes, the shape of everything. Don't forget that get that bit of a muscle back in here too. So let's check this here. Anyway, I'm just gonna give a quick look here. Focus. Let's go get this focus. So yeah. So basically, that's what I got so far. Now I'm actually gonna finish this up real quickly. Because I'm pretty much getting to the end of basically what I wanted to basically, give to you the benefit of the knowledge that I've learned. And I just want you to take away, like, if you take away anything from it, that's great. Like I've done my job. And I mean, there's other things I'm like R&D. Like I'm actually looking to get into do my own YouTube videos, and I don't know how to edit. Like obviously, like I'm just gonna upload these videos the way they are. I mean, this is for your own viewing purpose, and if anyone else likes it, and if they would like to have a more edited and cleaned up version, I'm more than happy to do that. So yeah. So now I'm kind of just figuring out things here. Now I'm going to do the hair. Generally, what I do with the hair, I try to figure out, when you got a sphere, your hair basically grows out from like the crown of your head, sort of like that. So I generally just draw for her hair, just 3 bangs kind of coming over. This one I'll kind of draw a bit more. And I draw these little circles in there because that gives you the volume of sort of each, mass of hair. Now I'm kind of doing this as like a very sloppy. There's better sort of tutorials on how to do hair. Again, like this stuff is so like in depth. This is where I'm just going to actually start gesturing more. Because this kind of drawing I would obviously, trace afterwards to sort of clean it up. Okay. So yeah. Kind of starting to look the way I want it to. Kind of not on model with her, unfortunately, is what I would like. Maybe I'll throw some lead on there to kind of help bring some stuff up for you, so you can kind of see, because it is a mess of lines right now, but like all these lines mean something. That's what you got to, another thing that a lot of artists forget is like when you're drawing this line, you're not just drawing a line, you're drawing that negative space between shapes. And I mean, that's really the only way I can really explain that. So when you're doing your penciling, you just want to make sure you maintain what shapes are overlapping. And actually, I see you do this in your drawings too, which is really good. So you do have an eye for that. Well, I'll give you the credit for that. You just got to make sure that you maintain where those masses are folding in, where they're pinching. Again, I'm just going to exaggerate this sort of that curve right there. Pinches in right there. Give her a little bit of fluff right there. I kind of draw her with 4 toes. This is going to get a bit muddy in here, I do admit. My drawings can be very, very muddy. So basically it's main thing. And actually, for you drawing like toes and that for characters like these, generally you draw them in like D shapes. Be a bit of a overlap in there. Bit of a whopper in there. Ankle bone right there. The kneecap, you can just indicate that with a sphere. Just make sure you fold those muscles in and around it. And then you got that lovely hip shape right here. I generally draw her with the small perky breasts. People get creeped out when it comes to like, you know, anthropomorphic characters with like breasts and shit like that. Like I don't over exaggerate that stuff. I try not to. I try to make her like, like lovely looking and stuff like that. Like I don't want to. So yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna go too much into the hands at this point, just because hands are something completely else. But like I said, you can indicate it with like that meat sack shape that I was saying before. And then you got your thumb. Thumb has another joint right there. I mean, you can get away with that for right now. When it comes to doing your abdominal muscles, generally you can think about like two spheres like that overlapping. So you like to draw your abdominal muscles a lot. So, and I mean, you can go into more detail of that if you want. Like right now, I'm just trying to focus on just where the main shapes are. Like after this, you can push it and make it look as real or as animated or whatever. This is where you can start playing with your artistic licensing a bit more. Shy has a little bit of hair that comes across there. I'm just going to try to flush this out a bit more before I end this video. God, I'm almost burning through my paper now. That's how heavy-handed I am. Like I can literally like push this paper out afterward, and I'm working on like 60 weight paper here. It's pretty ridiculous. Sorry if I'm getting in the way of the camera. I just gotta get in close here. So I hope my drawing's starting to make a bit more sense now. Generally, when people draw eyes, they draw them like cross-eyed there a bit, but there's better ways of doing that. Yeah, and Shy has long hair in the back, short hair on top, long in the back, sort of like a mullet. And then generally she has this like strip of hair that I like to draw, sort of like that. When you're drawing standing poses, you don't really want to have too much like dynamics in there. Like a lot of people will draw like the hair blowing around, stuff like that. But when you're drawing just characters, you don't really want to do too much crazy shit like that. There's a little bit of that. I don't know what that's called. It's like a black mark that comes across the face, like foxes there. Just want to check this out. How this looks in the video. So you can see, like, I'm just starting to, flush things out a bit more in my character. Even though it's very loose, it's very sketchy, but it's solid. Like, things make sense. Nothing is stretched. Nothing is, like, the arms aren't out of proportion. It doesn't look like it's melting wax on one side. Some artists would probably say she is right now, but yeah. So I'm actually not gonna try. I'm actually not gonna like. I'm gonna stop this drawing at this point because like if I go any further, I'm gonna have to like erase it back and probably trace it just because like the paper is starting to get very, very worn thin. It's because I'm very, very heavy-handed. I have actually have carpal tunnel in my left hand, so it makes it a little bit difficult for me to actually. It's very painful for me to actually draw. I love it, but it's a painful activity for me. So yeah, she's starting to look like Shy. Like the The shy die I actually draw quite a bit. So yeah. Anyway, I think this is long enough. Like, I mean, you got about almost an hour to go through here. So, so Rhetoric&Discourse. Sorry for saying that. I have I'm not used to being on camera a lot. So, Rhetoric&Discourse. I hope you like don't take this as a negative. I'm trying to really help you push your drawings to that next level. And basically, all I can say is you just need to use the right reference, analyze that reference, break it down into simple shapes like this, and try to really focus on that gesture. I mean, like you can do this before when you do your actual drawing broadcast, have the stuff already broken down, and you can just start drawing whatever you want on top afterwards. So basically, what I would go with this is that I would actually take another piece of paper, throw it on top, and actually trace it out again. But then that's another step all in its own. This tutorial is just to show you, how to, find a good piece of reference, break that reference down, try to figure out what the different parts of the body are doing, and just the simplest ways that I've learned to, with the straight on curves, bean shape, the geoforming, using your eraser. If you have a hard time trying to figure out how the torso is working, because your hips can be this way and and that's how you can figure out how that, shape can work. So, I mean, I hope that helps you, and hope you find this informative. And one day I hope to actually maybe even be drawing with you on one of your live casts. I think that would be pretty cool. So thank you for taking time to watch this. And if you want anything more from me, I'll be happy to do it for you. All right, bye.